Rolin Jones, you're the showrunner for Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, which aired its second season this past year. The book is, or the two seasons are based on the first book, Interview with the Vampire. What did you most want to capture from the novel over the course of these two seasons?
Uh, yeah, a very particular romance. Um, the I don't know the strange war that happens between a 78-year-old man and a 148-year-old man who still have some stuff to figure out. I wanted Anne's language to make an aggressive appearance. The prose that's so lovely in there, which is sometimes the thing that falls first when you're adapting. And then yeah, I wanted a almost operatic um, experience for an audience who's willing to go with it. Emotions are really heightened, and uh, yeah, I don't know. Just general, I wanted it to be a nervy, um, vibrating, weird ass show. God bless AMC for letting us make it.
And how do you decide where to deviate from the source material? What to expand on, what to leave out? I imagine those are difficult decisions in any adaptation.
Well, there's a lot of wonderful stuff in our book, a really beautiful book to work off of. I think that the challenges were a little bigger in season two, mostly because there was a lot less plot in that book. The book is it's almost like five meditative conversations between vampires, and then some crazy events, and then you're out. And we had to kind of create a lot of plot out of that. But for the most part, yeah, we tried to jam as much Anne as we could in there. And the basic changes you make for anything that was beautifully written as a novel, and the choices that you'd have to make to turn it into something that is, for actors to speak from their, and for it to, cut over 15 episodes. I don't know. I think we cannibalized that book. There's not a lot left. There's a couple of characters that fell off for this reason or that reason. We made some decisions about the timeline. But I think it was done with a lot of love and a lot of collaboration with Anne, who is no longer with us.
And season two, you introduced the vampire troupe led by Armand. What most excited you about bringing those characters and storylines from the book to the screen and folding that in?
Oh, well, anytime you can shove theater into the face of TV viewers, always a good thing. I hire a lot of playwrights and a lot of actors from the theater. So I think if there's anything, we were just trying to restrain ourselves from making a lot of insider dumb theater jokes that nobody could care about. I think, it was, we always kind of had the specter of the movie behind us, and they did that part really well in the movie. So a lot started out just as like, oh, well, how are we going to do it? How are we going to justify doing this again? We don't want. There was also, I think, a caveat from AMC to don't repeat the movie. We've seen it. It's beautiful. It's out there. Our timeline really opened up a lot of opportunities to make it a grittier, dirtier, slightly more dangerous theater of the vampires than the movie or even in the book. Um, and the joy of actually setting something in post-war Paris. You see Paris going into the war, you see a lot of Paris during the war, and then you don't see a lot of stuff done in those first 4 or 5 years afterwards, which was, I think, for all of us, a nice way to feel like you were, coming into Paris in some kind of a side door. And also just numbers. Season one was like a chamber drama between three characters. And we got to expand it not only with just the bodies, but in space and time too, with what was going on with Dubai and what Louis was coming to realize was his truth along the way. So I don't know. Yeah. Also, I got to cast Ben Daniels again. Oh, best.
And what was it like writing for him, Ben Daniels, in the role of Santiago? That character being such a highlight of the season.
Well, we knew that was our guy from the day one. Even if he was already scheduled to go be on Lord of the Rings and our dates weren't working out to begin with, he is somebody we had up on the wall. I worked with him on a TV show previously about like 7 or 8 years ago, seen his theater work, and know what he can do. He's just one of those really wonderful actors that can sort of turn on a dime and take something that is very, very funny and then make it very sinister, just like that. The instrument is really huge, and we had a really hammy role for him, which was, and he's one of the really delicate butchers, just the right slice of ham. On top of given circumstances and stuff. What a joy. And he also acts like a naughty 14-year-old boy when the camera's off too. So it's a nice energy on Sam. And he gets it like sort of like the grand dam of our theater troupe, because they were all a bunch of theater actors who had known him growing up in the theater too. So that was a treat. You'd see it on stage. I mean, you see it in the camera. There's a lot of joy. It feels like a theater company there. He had a lot to do with it.
Now there were more than a dozen books in the Vampire Chronicles. You're going into season 3. And you'll be covering the Vampire Lestat. Would you cover them all if you could, or is there like a specific endpoint that you have in mind?
I mean, like anything else, you're supposed to take a really good hard look at yourself and go, do you have anything left to say about vampires? And they pay you to do this, so that's hard. And I have a 3-year-old child and all that stuff, and who doesn't want a swimming pool? But I think if you're really honest with yourself, you got to say, can you still bring it with the same energy that you brought it the first time? And for season 3, I believe I can, and I believe our staff can. For 12 books, man, I think somewhere along the way you got to hand that thing off, because when you're up to writing the 540th scene of Louis, you really need some new blood in there. I think that's a while off. If I had my druthers, we'd do this, figure out Queen of the Dam, Tale of the Body Thief, maybe Mennock, somewhere there. And at some point, there will be somebody who already says, oh, it's clearly should be this person. And also, vampires I mean, by that time, who knows how old Sam Reed and Jacob Anderson are going to look? They might not even look the immortals anymore. So we're just going to try, as long as AFC gives us the dough, we're going to try to make aggressive things with it. Feel very privileged to do it, but yeah, look, I'm in the heat. It's hard for me to talk about season 2. I'm in the heat of season 3 right now. I got season 3 head in here right now. So I think hopefully none of this all sounds really canned. It's just that I'm already in the next season. Yeah.
Now the show is getting a spin-off about the Talamasca who tied into season 2. Does it complicate the storytelling process to factor in storylines that are happening in the same universe but on another show?
It's fun. We're communicating with each other. You don't want to you don't want to be the person that says you can't do that, you can't do this. You want like John and Mark, who are working on the Talamasca show, to have as much freedom as I had. That being said, we have a couple characters that are crossing over, so there's some communications between the two about like what those characters need to do in the next season of Vampire, and make sure that those things don't conflict. And if anything, make sure that they can help build a better story. Like I'm reading the scripts and grafting on the given circumstances of their show into ours. And that's cool. That's fun. And they're lovely guys too, so that makes it easy. Yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate you on your work on seasons 1 and 2, going into season 3 of Interview with a Vampire, and thank you so much for talking with me about it.
Oh, a pleasure. Yeah. And what? Gold Derby.